One day at lunch with his best friend, Dave started a conversation. Imagine a day when no one would complain to you about their troubles, or a day when you would not have to listen their opinion about anything and everything, even though you haven't asked them. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Imagine how peaceful it would be. His friend looked at him seriously and said, Dave, if you really mean it, then I may know of such a place. I heard of a monastery that has very strict rules. If you want to live there, one of them is that the monks there have to take a vow of silence and they are allowed to speak only 2 words per year. Only senior monks are allowed to say more than 2 words. So, if you would go to such a place, you would have to watch what you say as everyone else would. Later that day, Dave started to research if such a place really does exist. To his amazement, he found the monastery his friend was talking about. So Dave quit his job and said goodbye to his friends and he went to live in the monastery as a monk. When he first arrived at the monastery, the first thing he noticed was how quiet it was. And even though the monks were not speaking, they somehow found a way to effectively work together. One of the head monks who initiated Dave into the order explained the rules to him, and from the moment Dave accepted his vows and new clothes, and he was allowed to speak only 2 words per year. Even though Dove was known among his friends as a person who chose his words carefully, he now found it more difficult than he expected to not speak freely. Because of his occasional slip up, he now found himself in trouble with the head monk. As a result, Dave wasn't allowed to say his 2 words to the head monk at their annual meeting. The head monk again warned him about the rules and the consequences if he would not follow them. Remember, brother Dave, when you joined our monastery, you were made aware of our rules. Now, make sure you follow them, and we shall speak again next year. After leaving the office of the head monk, Dave decided to make a bracelet with the following message to help him keep on track. Watch what you say and when you say it. So, after his second year of the monastery, Dave was summoned to his annual meeting with the head monk. One more year has passed since you joined us, said the head monk. Now, watch what you said as you only have 2 words you can say to me. Bid hard, said Dave. Thank you for telling me that, replied the head monk. 1 year later, Dave was again summoned to the head monk's office. It was been 1 more year, said the head monk. What are the 2 words you would like to speak? Food awful, said the monk. I see, replied the head monk. Yet another year passed, and Dave once again met the head monk and said, what are your 2 words now? After all these years, I quit, said Dave. Well, I can see why, replied the head monk. All you ever do is complain. You should be more mindful and watch what you say when you talk with other people, especially if you need their help. The moral of the story, what we understand from this is words have consequences. How you communicate about situations and others in your life gives others a certain perspective of who you are and how you think. There is a time and place when to speak out and when you should hold back. Finding the sweet spot is what makes you a master in communication. Many of us have this problem, and that is the reason we are poor communicators. It is not the vocabulary or the language that matters, but what we talk and when we talk matters. Stay blessed.